Humpback whales are remarkable creatures. 11 times the size of an elephant, they're so sensitive they can guide their massive bodies to within millimetres of other whales. They're very smart, keen to communicate to humans by interacting, even pushing their newborn calves to us. And they're extraordinary navigators, swimming halfway across the world every year from their Antarctic feeding grounds to their birthing waters in the warm tropics. What's more, they're genuine entertainers, slapping and spy hopping and breaching, mostly just because they want to. Mesmerising behaviour. So much so that one whale lover has dedicated her life to following these majestic beauties. Vicky Neville is the whale girl, the full-time whale-watching guide who spent the past 20 years interacting with them, communicating with them, empathising with them.
They're so relaxed, look at this.
Vicky Neville is the Whale Whisperer.
Well, I've been watching whales for over 20 years and they never cease to amaze me. Their majestic ways and their curious nature. They're so gentle and graceful for the size. They're gigantic animals. Oh, these humpbacks are huge. They grow to about 14 to 15 metres and weigh in about 40 tonne, which is about as much as 11 elephants. They have huge pectoral fins. They're usually about a third of the length of their body, and each fin can weigh up around a tonne on a fully grown whale. The humpback whales are so active, so energetic, acrobats of the sea. They're so powerful, a couple of flicks of the tail and they can get fully airborne, leaping into the sky with an almighty breach. The humpbacks are the most active species of all the whales. We get breaches from them. They also slap their large pectoral fins on the surface of the water. It's all part of their communication. We see them tail slapping, which can be an aggressive behaviour. And of course, we see them spy hopping, and we see that with courtship, and they're doing it to bring their eye close to the surface to have a good look at us. It's all part of that communication between whale and human. They're composers, they're gentle, and they're inquisitive as well.
For the last 50 million years, whales have been evolving from a land mammal. Just like humans, they breathe air and give birth to live young. And just as humans are the most evolved life form on land, whales are the most evolved creatures in the ocean, making whales and humans very close relatives. Hervey Bay in Queensland is acknowledged as the best place in the world to watch humpback whales at play and socialising, with a ceremony held to mark the start of each whale season.
The blessing of the fleet is a huge tradition for us, and it's a day where the locals can come down and venture onto the boats to see what we do. We have ministers come down and they bless all the boats for a safe passage through whale season.
So Lord, we do pray your special blessing that all that sail upon her will be able to go out upon the sea and gaze upon your wonderful creation. In the name of the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
We have fireworks. And it's just an amazing start to the whale watching season.
First light sees Vicky Neville in Urangan Harbour. Skipper Nick Thorpe is manoeuvring their inflatable out into Hervey Bay in search of the first whales of the season. The search is on. Vigilance is the key. And then there's a sighting. Flukes and tailfins are breaking the water up ahead. It's this playful activity that has had Vicky captivated for much of her life.
Look at this, these whales are coming into us. They're so inquisitive, these animals. They're right under the boat. We usually wave to them to give them something to look at. And they'll bring their eyes up close to the surface, they'll roll around, you actually see their eye come out of the water. And this is something that we get a lot here in Hervey Bay. These whales are stopped, they're relaxed, and because they're just milling around the bay, they come in to check us out. Once they leave here, we think it takes them about 6 to 8 weeks to get to Antarctica. And they'll spend anything from 3 to 5 months down there. So they're travelling for most of the year. These are 2 big adult whales here. We've got a lot of communication going on with the whales. A bit of peck slapping here, whale upside down. This fin can weigh up around a tonne. It's how they steer, it's how they manoeuvre. They actually get their scientific name from those pec fins, Megaptera novengulae, which means big-winged New Englander. Okay, we've got one whale right next to us here. The other one's showing off here. This could be a little display of courtship behaviour going on, probably in a male and a female. Woohoo! Look at that breach. It's probably the humpback's most famous behaviour of all. So powerful. They're not diving down deep. They're just very, very strong. There's a muscle that runs down the back called the peduncle muscle, the strongest part of the whale's body. Woo! Look at that, probably a 30-tonne whale launching itself out of the water. Woo-hoo-hoo! Big adult breaching out here, can you believe that? They're so powerful, these humpbacks. A couple of flicks of the tail. They can get fully airborne. Look, we've got a whale here right next to the boat. Woo! Look at that, the other one's still breaching. And we've seen probably 20 breaches all up at the moment with some peck slapping in between. There it goes. It's really on a roll at the moment. They do it for lots of different reasons. And sometimes it's for fun. Sometimes it's to escape predators. Humpback whales have predators. Large sharks and killer whales harass them. So we've just had this most incredible display of courtship between a male and a female humpback. And it was the girl that was doing all the manoeuvres. You know, is she telling that male that she's ready to mate? And it makes you wonder how long they'll stay together, because we know the males don't hang around to play the fatherly role. They'll probably hang around for a day or two, leave Hervey Bay, and then they'll split up and that female will journey on to Antarctica pregnant. And then she'll return the following year, 11 months later, to give birth to her calf. The calves are born up here in the warm waters because they wouldn't survive the cold Antarctic waters. Once they leave here, they've had their calves, they head down to Antarctica to go and find their krill. It's a massive journey. We say it takes them about 6 to 8 weeks to get down to Antarctica. Well, I guess my passion has grown stronger over the years with the whales, and I really felt I needed to do more to protect them and to save them and to put the spotlight on the threats that are facing whales in this day and age.
The whaling story is one of devastation. Whalers almost obliterated all species of whales. The East Coast Australian population of humpback whales was decimated. Only 200 survived from an initial population of 40,000.
Back in 2005, the Japanese announced they were going to target our humpback whales, which would mean the whales that we watch here in Hervey Bay would be facing harpoons when they swam south to feed. And I couldn't get it out of my head. I thought, what can we do to stop these Japanese whalers? So I had a little idea that manifested into a national day of action throughout Australia. And we had a day that we sent out messages to the government to help protect the whales. We got the message out there that these whales need protection. And the whalers reneged on the humpback quota. So I think we had a good victory, and I'm really proud of that. That was in 2006. That day is still rolling along. From a little protest day, it grew into this huge celebration. And it's a day that we welcome the whales back to our safe waters in Hervey Bay. And it's a day to celebrate our love of whales.
Vicky's love of whales means she started an annual paddle out for other whale lovers.
Paddle Out for Whales is just such an amazing event. It evolved from a little protest day and now it's just this massive day to celebrate our love of whales and to also put focus on the threats that they're still facing in this day and age. We get hundreds of people turn up for paddle out and paddle out on surfboards and kayaks and boogie boards, whatever. And it's such an emotional day. You know, just as we speak this year, the 2015 paddle out, we've got a hunt on in the Northern Hemisphere. Faroe Islands is conducting a pilot whale hunt, and just yesterday I was showing some horrific pictures of it. And we remembered that, and we have a minute's silence to remember those whales that have been hunted, well over 300 whales in the last couple of days. So this day, it's a celebration day, but it's a very good reminder that whales need protection.
A big thank you to the SCO.
We form a circle, we throw flowers into the water to commemorate the whales that have been lost in the whaling era. It's a great conservation day for whales. It's probably the largest conservation whale day in the world.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. What a magnificent spectacle. Give yourselves a round of applause. Absolutely fantastic.
In 2007, I received an award for Animal Campaigner for the International Fund for Animal Welfare, and also I received a local environmental award as well. I am very proud of the public awareness and the spotlight that I have put on the focus for whale conservation. I feel very humble, of course. It's just my passion. I love the whales and I really want to protect them and doing what I can to help this population increase and, know that they're safe travelling out there on their migration path.
Vicky's daily search for whales means she's looking for those very special humpbacks that are known as muggers. Whales so curious, so inquisitive, they swim over to Vicky to socialise.
Hello, look at this, it's coming in.
Strict regulations mean she must keep 100 metres from the whales. But all is fine if the whales approach her. Today, 2 whales have swum close, a perfect example of mugging.
Right now, we're being mugged by 2 humpback whales. It's something that we do get a lot here in Hervey Bay because when the whales come in, they stop over and spend on average 3 to 5 days. They're so relaxed. Look at this. Look at this. And we have a name for this behaviour. It's called getting mugged by whales, and that's what's happening right now. I'm getting mugged by these 2 humpback whales. I never tire of this. It's just amazing. It's our favourite behaviour. Look at this whale so close I can nearly touch it. It's a juvenile whale. These humpbacks aren't old enough for mating and calving, so they get very inquisitive with us. It's all about curiosity, and they're playing with us as well. They're communicating. They're rolling their eyes close to the surface to have a really good look at us. Look at this whale, a huge spy hop, look at this. That was awesome, that whale just connected so much there at the back of the boat. Totally amazing.
Once the muggers decide they want to interact with Vicky, they linger, floating lazily, swimming effortlessly around her inflatable, manoeuvring that massive body ever so gracefully.
Look at this, I can see the tubercles so close. They actually have a single strand of hair protruding from them, and they can pick up vibrations with those. It's part of the sensory system. Their blowholes, these humpbacks have 2 blowholes. It's something that all baleen whales have. It's such a deep breath. They can exhale and inhale within 2 seconds, replenishing that air. Woohoo! Look at those barnacles under the chin. They're all covered in barnacles, these humpbacks, and this one's got quite a few. These whales are having as much fun as we are, I think. They're very, very inquisitive, and they're having a ball. I mean, we love whale watching, but I think they like people watching as well.
Vicky's passion for whales means she heads out most mornings as a guide on the whale-watching catamaran, the Tasman Venture.
Grown up around the beach all my life, and when I was a teenager I started surfing. Used to see the dolphins out in the waves, and it used to amaze me how they'd just ride the waves alongside of us. But unfortunately as a child I never got to see whales. There weren't many whales left. We couldn't go to a headland and look out and see whales like my children do now. Then I went whale watching for the first time. I was absolutely hooked. To see these whales out in the wild, their gracefulness, their curiosity, just amazed me from day one. I couldn't get enough. So I decided to move to Hervey Bay and chase my dreams and work on the whale watching boats. Good morning everyone, hope you're all excited to go out whale watching this morning. We've got stacks of whales out there. We're really seeing the southern flow enter the bay at the moment. Humpbacks are the most amazing whales to watch. They're very surface active, very acrobatic at times, and we have perfect weather out there today, so I hope you all enjoy it. These whales are so relaxed out here today. They're just milling around. Look at this, it's just incredible. Oh, look at that. I'm so lucky that my job is my passion. I can teach people about whales. I can teach them about their beauty, their gracefulness, and educate people that these whales still need to be saved as well and need protection. I love seeing the reactions from our passengers on board, to see the joy that these whales bring people. I've seen grown men cry. I've seen people singing and dancing in front of a whale, see them waving to them. Okay folks, they're coming in nice and close. Give them a big wave folks, let them see you, let them hear you. Sing and dance, whatever you want to do. They're definitely reacting to it. They can see you, they'll roll their eye and they'll bring that eye even out of the water at times. Coming in towards the front, give it a wave there, that's the way. And I've even seen a whale touch a person. The connection there is amazing. Okay, look at this. We've our first mum and calf of the season. How exciting. This is unreal. We usually don't get them for another couple of weeks, so this is amazing that we're seeing our first calf. And here's mum, she's quite a large mum. I'm guessing the calf's about 2 to 3 weeks old. We have quite a few hundred come through in the season, so they'll keep coming now. She's nice and quiet here. She's just protecting her calf at the moment. I think they've just had a feed. We do see the little calves breaching and tail slapping. The mums teach them everything they need to know. They're such a great mum. They're very nurturing mums. They never let the calf get too far out of their sight. Very protective. It's great to see our first arrival. Our season runs for nearly 4 months, and to be able to go out there and watch these whales every day is something special. Okay, we've got a breacher over about 4 o'clock in the distance there. Just keep our eye on that, see if it goes again. Breaching's one of those things, you've got to be lucky, of course. Be at the right place at the right time, there it goes. And again. And this whale's probably about 25 tonne. It's not a fully grown whale. There it goes, look at that. It's an amazing sight, isn't it? Unbelievable. There it goes, look at that one. That was an awesome breach. Wow, right out of the water, that one. I absolutely love it. My whole year revolves around whale season, and I'll be waiting in anticipation till July comes around till I can get back out on that boat again and connect with my beloved humpback whales. So I'm out here every day with them and I absolutely love them. My whole life revolves around whales. Hervey Bay is a very special and unique area. We get things happening here that don't happen anywhere else in the world. And the beauty of Hervey Bay is the whales come in and stop over. A lot of places are watching whales on their migration path and their behaviours are so much different.
Hervey Bay is of significant importance to the humpbacks for both social interaction and development. Research has shown that reproduction rates are higher amongst the whales that visit Hervey Bay compared to the remainder of the whales cruising the east coast of Australia.
It makes for awesome whale watching. You know, we get the mums coming in to nurture their calves. We get the males coming in tearing around the bay chasing the females. We get all the different behaviours a humpback can do. We see them breaching and peck slapping and tail slapping. It's a playground out there for the whales. They come up to the boats and check us out and they're really inquisitive and we get a lot of close encounters and it's something unique to Hervey Bay. There you go, Nick. There's a pod just up ahead, about 100 metres. Looks like about 4 whales.
New whales means a new adrenaline rush for Vicky. This is the whales playground and she feels genuinely excited every time she gets to share it with them. For the humpbacks, it's a reciprocal feeling. They're as fascinated with her as she is with them.
Come on, big guy, come on, come and say hi. Wow, look at this juvenile male. He's showing off around the boat. He just wants to play with us. We've had a few peduncle rolls. He's excited and he's checking us out. Look at that gentle roll. This whale was actually with a pod of 3 before we got here and it's chosen to leave these whales and come in to socialise with us. And it's simply curiosity that brings them over to the boat. They're curious, they want to have a look at us. Look at this, rolling around, lifting its tail, bit of a tail slap. It's having a ball with us. It can be an aggressive behaviour, but it's certainly not here at the moment. It's just showing off and playing with us. What a big blow. It's exhaling at about 450 kilometres an hour. The air rushes out of their lungs. There it is. Look at that. 2 blowholes on top of the head. It's just hanging at the back of the boat, just interacting with us, having a ball, this whale. It's playing around, lifting its tail.
It's one thing to watch the whales from a boat, quite another to go swimming with them.
What a dream it would be to enter the water and to swim with these whales and to connect with them in their watery world. And I've got to find the right whale to be able to do it. One that's really curious, one that's really inquisitive.
Vicky slips into the water for that very special experience. And there, in front of her, 2 whales, floating almost without motion. She swims in for an even closer encounter. And the whales begin to move off, ever so slowly. A closer encounter will have to wait.
She just moved off a little bit there. She's not quite used to me yet, but I think she's pretty calm.
Topside once more, Vicky waves her arms to attract the whales. That motion works. This humpback has reacted by swimming right up to her.
Look at this. She's not frightened at all. She's so gentle. She's so curious and so graceful. She's twisting and turning under the boat here. So much joy being around these animals. I think this female might be around sort of 5-6 years old. She's sub-adult size, which would be around 9 metres in length. Their eyes are a long way down from the top of the head. And when they lift their bodies right up out of the water, her eye actually comes to the surface. Having a good look at my hand in the water. Look at this, she just wants a pat. She's definitely communicating with me here. That's just amazing. I never get sick of this. The sheer beauty of these whales, they're so graceful. I hear it all the time, you know, people will say, when are we going to see a breach? You know what? This mugging, it's my favourite behaviour of all. I'd rather the whale right next to me like this than a whale leaping out of the water. It's just something special. These whales choose to do this. I just live for these moments. It's just so exciting. It's just so beautiful. Nature at its best. These gentle giants of the sea coming in to interact with us. It's just amazing.
Vicky Neville's passion for whales is such that she arms herself with an SLR camera to capture them on film. She's built up a formidable collection of whale photos, snapped as she gets up close to them.
I love capturing these whales on film. I love them so much, and I try and get that perfect shot of a breach or a spy hop or a head lunge. I've built up an amazing collection of photographs over the years. I've probably got thousands. I love taking the photos for my own personal use, but of course I do get into identifying the whales. Following these whales over the years teaches us a lot about social behaviours, relations with other whales, and of course we build life histories for them. I have a great passion for the ocean. I grew up around the beach and smelling that salt air and hearing the waves, and I'm at my most peace when I'm in the ocean. And you know, whether it's snorkeling, swimming, surfing, it's just beautiful being out there. And I know it's the whales' environment as well, so it's a very spiritual thing for me.
Today, Vicky has connected with a whale that is clearly intent on impressing a female. This whale is becoming increasingly active, and Vicky waves vigorously to get its attention. It's begun to sing, part of a courtship ritual that is generally the prelude to mating.
Well, we've approached this pod, and what we have here is a male trying to impress a female. It is mating season. We're getting quite a few peduncle rolls. We call it peduncle rolling because the muscle that runs from the dorsal fin down to the tail is called the peduncle muscle. It's the strongest part of the whale's body. And there's another roll. This male is trying to attract the female. It's mating season here at the moment, and he's impressing her with his moves. If this male wins the affection of the female, mating will occur, and they'll come side by side very gently, and the whole moment only takes a few seconds.
One phenomenon here in Hervey Bay is the return of old friends. Whales that are clearly identifiable. Whales that come back year after year. Whales like Nala.
Okay, exciting times here at the moment. We have our very special whale, Nala, in the bay. She's probably Hervey Bay's most iconic whale, and she's here with her 12th recorded calf. Look at this. She's just a huge whale. She's been recorded here in the bay since 1992. She's a great mum. She's had calves in successive years too, so she's one of the whales that has been teaching us a lot about whale behaviour and when they calve, and we're not exactly sure when they stop calving. She's definitely well over 35 years old, and that's only what we know. She was an adult when we first met her. It's amazing to see her. We haven't seen her for a year or so. So she's a very regular visitor to the bay. Here she is, look, the calf's breaching. No way. She gets a name Nala from The Lion King. And we started naming her calves after Lion King characters. So this calf is a female, very active calf. Nala's just resting next to the calf, letting it do its thing. We actually know Nala by the pattern underneath her tail. She's got a very distinctive black mark and some little black spots in the middle of her tail. And what Nala does, she extends that tail very, very high up into the air, and she feeds her calf in that position. Not many whales feed in a tail-up position, but Nala does. And she'll just raise it right out of the water. It's just amazing to see. It's this massive tail fluke. And the little calf will go down and have a drink, and she'll hold that position for sometimes 5 or 10 minutes while she's feeding her calf. I'm just stoked to see her this year. It's just unbelievable. And this calf is so active. Look at it, it's just breaching. It knows how to breach. It's just amazing.
On board the Tasman Venture this day, the mission is to record some whale song. That evocative call emitted by the humpbacks to communicate with one another. Vicky prepares to capture that haunting sound.
So this is our hydrophone. This is our underwater microphone, and we put it into the water to listen out for any whale song. The humpbacks sing an amazing song, very complex, very structured, and it's the males that sing it. We think it's like a bit of a love song. Okay, we have the whales next to the boat here, so we're going to drop our hydrophone in because we think they're singing. And if they're singing next to the boat here, it'll be extremely loud. So this is the song of the humpback, and it's a very structured thing that the males do. It has a start, a finish, verses in between. They're the only animal in the animal kingdom that compose a song. We think they sing to lure the females, but it also could mark out territory and dominance with other males in the area. These whales can hear this song for hundreds of miles away. And the fascinating thing is, we think these whales don't have vocal cords. They pass air around their body to produce the sounds. So we know this is a male because this is actually the song. Sometimes we get social sounds from males, females and calves, but the song is very continuous. It might last about 15, 20 minutes, but they can start it at the beginning, sing to the end, and then repeat it over and over all day. And apparently all the males in the same group sing the same song. It evolves and changes with time. So our East Coast group of whales will actually be singing a different song to the Western Australian group. Quite amazing.
Humpback whales are remarkable composers. The songs they sing are used to socialise with one another, clearly a form of communication. And while scientists have yet to decode their language, once we do, we'll be so much closer to understanding these magnificent creatures. Out on Hervey Bay, it's not all play. Young males trying to mate with females become very aggressive, as Vicky is about to experience in this classic heat run.
So it's mating season here in Hervey Bay, and we've been following this female, being harassed by about 3 males, and it's starting to heat up. I can see the males zigzagging and starting to push and shove each other around. We're getting lots of blows. They're starting to huff and puff, and that's what goes on when they're fighting. They actually compete with each other for the right to be with females. And as I look around here, there is another 2 whales coming into the fight too. So we're going to have stacks of whales here very shortly. Sometimes we get 10, 15 whales in a fight. It's the only time you actually see these humpbacks very aggressive. They know how to fight. We see a lot of fresh blood on the whales when they do. They cut each other with barnacles, and even the bumps on top of their head, the tubercles, get knocked about when they're fighting. These whales are starting to get so aggressive here. We've got about 7 here now, and they're starting to push. I can see the real dominant male in the middle. Younger males usually hang on the outside. They have to learn how to fight. It's such a beautiful day today. It's so glassy, and what we're getting here, one of the dominant males is blowing streams of bubbles. We call it bubble screen, and they actually do it to shield out one whale from another. The pod's changed direction here, and the female's coming towards us. She's bringing the males directly behind her. She's actually going to swim under the boat here. She does this to try and lose the males. These fights are so spectacular to watch. They can go on for hours and hours and hours, and eventually the strongest male will win out for the female's affection in the end. Our passengers just love it, and this is the beauty of Hervey Bay. It's such a special place to watch all this whale behaviour. These fights can go on for a couple of days. I've actually seen males at it one day, and then the next day we come out and they're at it again. It's pretty exciting stuff to watch. Wow, what a surprise we have this morning. We have a very rare encounter with a southern right whale mother and calf. It's something that we don't see here very often in Hervey Bay. We probably over the last 8 years have had about one a season. They usually only migrate to the bottom of Australia off the Victorian South Australian coast. Okay, you'll notice when she comes up, she doesn't have a dorsal fin. It's something very different to the humpback whales. And they're a lot bigger. This mum is absolutely huge. She'd be around 16 metres in length and weigh about 70 tonne. So they're a lot bigger than the humpback whales. She's actually in the shallow waters here. It's probably only about 4 metres deep, and that's typical with the southern right whales. They like to nurture their babies in the calm waters. These southern right whales are very quiet. They're not as acrobatic as the humpback whales, but one other time we had a mum and calf in here, the little calf started breaching. It was amazing. We haven't seen that very often with them. When the calf was breaching, it looks totally different to the humpback whales. The humpbacks have these massive pectoral fins, whereas the southern right whales have a tiny little paddle fin. So it looks totally different to watching humpback whales breach. It was so exhilarating to watch this young calf, 2-tonne of animal, launch itself out of the water, and big crash, big splash, and the sound of it was absolutely amazing.
As if on cue, the southern right calf we've been observing breaches right in front of us. A playful conclusion to another stunning day of whale watching here on Hervey Bay. The humpbacks are revered in Hervey Bay, a series of statues honouring the phenomenal migration they've undertaken to get here.
This group here that travels the east coast, about 10 to 12,000 kilometres they swim, and they head up from Antarctica at the end of summer, heading for the warm subtropical waters over the winter period. And on the northern migration, they pretty well go up a little bit further than here, up around the Great Barrier Reef. Some even go as far as Cairns. And on the return trip, they call into Hervey Bay. They stop over and use it for many different reasons. It's very protected, very shallow, so they love it in the bay, and they'll spend their days here and then take off and head to Antarctica to go down there to feed over the summer period.
The education process for humpback calves must be completed within a year, the time it takes for the mother whales to swim with their newborn calves from the Barrier Reef down to the Antarctic and back. In that time, the young whales live in a tight social structure, learning all they'll need to know to survive for the remainder of their long lives.
Our East Coast group of humpbacks got down to as little as 200 or 300 individuals left out of a possible 40,000. It's taken a long time to get back to some good numbers. And we say they're increasing by about 10% a year at the moment. We think this year there could be anything up to 20,000 humpbacks. So it's great to see them bouncing back. We think they're sort of halfway back to where they used to be before whaling took place.
Hervey Bay's whale watching season is drawing to a close, with mothers preparing to swim south to the Antarctic with their newborn calves. Today, Vicky encounters one very friendly mother and calf ahead of their big migration.
This calf's about a month old and it was born just a little bit north of here, up around the Great Barrier Reef. The mothers give birth up in the calm waters, and then once they arrive here in the bay, they nurture them, and they'll spend anything up to 2 or 3 weeks feeding that calf up, teaching it to play, teaching all the behaviours this calf needs to know for its life ahead before that big migration back down south to Antarctica. Now that little calf's just gone down for a little drink of milk. These mothers produce anything from 300 to 600 litres of milk every day. The mother has a couple of mammary glands that she squirts the milk from. The little calf doesn't actually suckle like a human baby. She pumps it out to the calf with a muscle that contracts. Even if milk goes into the water, it doesn't disperse, it's that thick, and the little calf can take it out of the water as well. This milk is very fattening. It's up around 47% fat. Human milk is only 2% fat, so you can imagine how thick it is. And these little calves can put on anything from 40, 50 kilos a day.
All that healthy mother's milk has spurred the whale calf into a burst of breaching. Boisterous play from a newborn full of life and energy.
Wow, look at this calf. This is about the 20th breach. It's so amazing. Oh, there goes another one. This calf certainly knows how to breach. It's only a month old and it's fully out of the water. Very powerful and looks so big out there. And another one. It's just on a roll. It's just surreal. Look at this, over and over. This calf is continuously breaching one after the other. And the mum's even done a couple as well, and that's how they teach their calves. The little babies imitate their mothers.
One very touching sign of how humpbacks communicate with humans is when a mother presents her calf. This friendly mother starts lifting her calf into Vicky, proudly showing off her newborn.
Can you believe this? After a session of breaching, this mother is pushing this calf in towards the boat. It's lifting it up with its head and it's presenting the calf to us. It's showing this calf off, very proud of its baby. This is a great example of whale intelligence. It's something very unique. Not all mums do this. And it's a way of communication. That mother is teaching its calf to communicate with humans. And maybe one year this calf will come back with its own baby and it will teach its baby to come in and communicate with us. Amazing experience, something very special.
Whales are so intelligent and so sensitive, they can actually teach humans a lesson. Because while humans are destroying their own habitat, whales have learned to live in total harmony with the environment.
When I'm watching a whale and when I'm connecting and it's looking at me, you know, I can't explain what's going on. It's that mystery of whales, and I'd love to learn more about them. We've learned so much about it, but they're still mysterious animals. We don't know what they're saying with their songs. We don't know what they're thinking when they're looking at us. But it's definitely a connection going on.
Vicky is about to make a special connection with two very special whales.
These two could be the two we're looking for. Nice and relaxed. They could be the ones that I'm going to get in the water with. I can't wait to do this. This is going to be so incredible. I just want to get in their watery world and see how they react with me when I'm in the water. Oh, it's unreal down here. She moved right past me there. She's not quite used to me, but it won't take long.
A deep breath and Vicky heads down below the surface. Ahead, the experience of her lifetime. These whales have bonded with Vicky so much they swim freely with her for 2 hours.
Well, she's settled down now. She looks amazing. She's making eye contact with me. She's just swimming really, really slowly. And at one stage, she actually rolled and did a bit of a spy hop right next to me. She's only a subadult, but underwater she looks huge. I feel so safe in the water with her. She knows her own space. She's just keeping that little distance. She could flick me with that tail and do some damage, but I feel very safe. We actually have 2 whales here, and the other one's just hanging out there a little bit, and he's splashing about. He's getting very impatient because this girl is socialising with me. He's very jealous, and I won't be surprised if he takes on. At one stage, I stretched my arms out to her and she rolled and extended her pectoral fin. It was like she wanted to touch me. It was like a big high five she was trying to give me. I can't believe how long she's staying around us for. She's been here for about 2 hours and she goes from one side of the boat to the other. And she rolls around. Sometimes she's vertical, sometimes she's horizontal, but she's not going anywhere. She swam vertical from down deep, right up in her nose, just about broke the surface of the water. And it was another stage where she connected with me. Her eye was so close to mine, looking right into my own eyes. It's such a different feeling being in the water with these whales. I watch them every day from above, but to be in their own environment is just surreal. That connection's there. She connected with me today. It's just an unbelievable experience.
Vicky takes a break back on the sea legs, but the lure proves too strong. One final encounter in the water.
I think she's really enjoying my company. She's really showing off here, and I guess she's never seen a human in the water before, so it's something amazing for her. And all of a sudden she's rolling around, she's flicking her tail, really reacting to me in the water. And she's just gone absolutely berserk. She's a crazy whale. She'll be around me for 5-10 minutes and then she'll just slowly swim off. And then all of a sudden she does this huge U-turn and she comes back to the boat. As I swim up to her, she'll just tease me, she'll look at me, and then she'll just flick her tail and I can feel the water pressure. There's so much pressure in the water when she takes off. It's unbelievable. This has been fantastic. This has been the most incredible experience of my life with these humpback whales. I've never done anything like this before, and I don't even know if I'll ever get to do anything like this again. But anyway, I'll treasure this moment, and if I can keep doing this, if I can keep bonding with the whales, connecting with the whales for the rest of my life, I'll be a happy girl.